Hi everyone, this is Jenna from Brown Dog Craft Company, and today we're going to be making a fun spring card with some Papertrey Ink new release products. So let's get started. So first I'm showing you all the ink combos that I plan on using. So a variety of Stampin' Up! And some of the positively saturated inks from Simon Says Stamp. And then I wasn't sure which paper I was going to be using, so I'm showing you all the sets I'm using and a stencil. There's a couple things I show you that I don't use. Like I use one of these sentiment sets. I use larger than life spring sentiments. I use Happy Bunnies and On the Bunny Trail and the spring die. This is from Mama Elephant. It's called Slim Fancy Fence. So there is like a window insert for the slim line that I didn't use. I just used the fence and then that cute little border, and I ended up doing the border in Hero Arts lavender cardstock. So here I have some Nina 110 pound, and I'm going to start with the Happy Bunnies stamp set from Papertrey Ink, and these are layering bunnies. So they have a smaller bunny and then also a larger bunny, and so we're going to start out with the first bunny, and I stamped that in, let's see, the Simon Says ink, the brown, trying to find where I put them, the brown inks. So I did Latte for this first bunny for his base. And then the next bunny I did Fawn, and those are the lightest shades from those trios. And then I did the medium color for each, which would be Cappuccino for the first bunny and then Cozy for the second bunny. So when you're doing layering stamps, you always want to start out with your lightest layer first. And then for their little cheeks and the little tummies, I did the Stampin' Up! In Blushing Bride, the Stampin' Up! Ink. And I forgot to do their ears, but I'll go back and do their ears here too. The basket, I did the first layer in Cappuccino, which is the medium ink, and then there's a cute little like basket weave layer, and I did that in the darkest ink, which is Mocha, for that set. These are super easy to line up. Mine aren't perfect, but I think it just adds character. The bunnies have a cute little like fuzzy tummy. I did Rococo Rose from Stampin' Up! Here I do their ears that I originally forgot. Okay, cute little bunnies. Now they need faces. So their little noses come separate from their little eyes, and I thought it was easier to just use my acrylic block for that. So I picked the face and the whiskers that go with the little bunny. So there's separate stamps for the face for the big bunny and the little bunny, and then the whiskers and the cheeks. So they, in theory, they'll look the same. Well, I take that back. The big bunny has like a patterned tummy, it looks like, instead of a fuzzy tummy. But other than that, they should pair nicely together. So I just keep flipping my paper to try to use as much of the paper as I could while leaving my stamp in the same spot. So once I layered it up, once I lined up the second layer, I don't have to keep lining up that layer over and over again. So the bow in this first egg, I'm stamping in Blushing Bride with the layer of Rococo Rose. I love that little bow. So I end up using the bow on the basket, but I think you could probably use the bow on the bigger bunny as either like a bow on its ear or like a cute little bow tie. This is the On the Bunny Trail set, and I picked this egg. It might have fit with the other egg too, but this set has a few more patterns for the eggs. So the blue egg is in Stampin' Up! The first layer is Balmy Blue, and then the top layer is going to be Misty Moonlight. And then the purples are Lilac and Amethyst. The pink is Carnation and Peony. And then I did two greens. I did Spring and Dublin. And I also did Stampin' Up! I did Mint Macaron and Soft Seafoam. Soft Seafoam is the lighter shade, and Mint Macaron is the darker. So these had a few patterns. So there's like a zigzag and a dot, and then a polka dotish, and then a stripe. And there's one more that looks kind of like a fuzzy tummy on the bunny. I don't think I put that one on the finished card front. I ended up putting it on the inside of the card. I just ran out of room. So I started with an A2 card originally, but I quickly realized that all of these images I wasn't going to fit what I wanted on an A2 card. So that's when I decided we better do slimline. So I die cut my white background for the card itself using the Simon Says Stamp Slimline Nested Rectangles dies. I used the second largest so that it fit nicely behind the little doily frame from Mama Elephant. So I'll show you that in a little bit here. Oh, okay, for the carrots, I did, the base layer is Sherbet ink from Simon Says Stamp. And then I really wanted the detail on the carrots to pop, so I used Cajun Craze, which is a really old color from Stampin' Up! And I think it might be in their new ink pads. I have the old ink pad, but I think it might still be a current color. And then the die cuts out the carrot with the like little greens on top of the carrot, so I wanted to make sure that I stamped the greens where they should go. So I waited till I die cut those, and I'll show you that later. I die cut the greens after I stamped the greens after I die cut the carrot. So here I'm taking the little grass and I'm stamping that in, I think I did Soft Seafoam. I'm putting that behind that cute little fence. I cut the fence out of Lawn Fawn Vanilla Malt. So here I'm going to take Morning and the Lawn Fawn Cloudy Day stencil, which is not a slimline stencil, but it's really easy to line it up and make it a slimline stencil. So it's one of my favorite things to do. So you'll see it kind of naturally lines up. It's not perfect, but I think that just adds to the card. Clouds aren't perfect, so they shouldn't be perfect on your card either. So I just do a really light hand. I didn't want a super dark background here. I wanted the grass and the images in the front to take center stage on this card. So, and then I can't resist. I have to splatter. It's one of my favorite things to do is splatter with white. Oh, here, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a pink frame or a blue frame or a purple frame, so I ended up with purple. I thought I might want a couple of flowers for the basket. I wasn't sure, so I stamped one in peony, one in orchid. And then one in rose, or the layering pieces in rose and amethyst. And then both of the leaves, I'm pretty sure are spring. So there's all my images, and they're die cut. Okay, I stamped the carrots now. This is where I talked about how I die cut them first because I wanted to make sure that I stamped the greens where they belonged. So here I'm stamping them in the mint macaron. I just used my block. It was super easy to line up. There's separate greens for the bigger carrots and separate greens for the smaller carrots. Super cute. Zoom in some for you. So I thought this fence needed a little bit more detail. So I took Simon Says Stamp's Fawn ink and my brown blending brush, and I blended a little bit of that onto the bottom. So I used my small blending brush just because I wanted to make sure I didn't blend the color all the way up the fence. I wanted it to be two-toned. So you just have a little bit more control with the smaller blending brush than you do with the larger one. Testing out how it looks. Okay, so this is my splat box, I call it. It just washes out, it's just a plastic box. I put some white acrylic paint in there, spray some water, use any sort of brush. I used a fan brush. It didn't work great. The fan is too big on it, so either a smaller fan brush or just a regular paintbrush works just fine. And just splatter some white paint on there. And then just make sure the paint is completely dry before you start putting things on your card. I'm just using my distress sprayer to add some more water to my paint. You can usually reactivate the paint that's in your splatter box too, so for next time. Alright, here I'm using Simon Says Stamp. They have these dot adhesive sheets, and I really like to use them when I'm layering my sentiments, my die cut sentiments. So here I realized I needed to put it on the top sparkle spring. So you just want to burnish to get all the adhesive on the back, and then it's super easy to line up. You don't have gluey fingers, you don't have too much glue. It works out really well. The top spring is cut out using, let's see, I die cut that with some Stampin' Up! Specialty paper in Very Vanilla. It's their Glimmer cardstock. It came in a Glimmer pack because I didn't want it to be super bright white because nothing else in the card is super bright white. You know, the fence is cream and the background is cloudy and it's very pastel spring colors. So I thought the off-white sparkle sentiment was a good complement to the rest of the card. Alright, my white paint has dried on the card panel, and now it's time to start putting everything on. So I'm taking my glue, and I'm going to put that all over the back of the fence here. My glue was clogged. This might be another die cut piece that would work well to put on those adhesive sheets. I didn't think of that when I was making the card, of course, but hindsight. And then I just line that up along the bottom. You won't see the seam anyway because we're going to put the frame that we die cut earlier onto the card. So the bottom and the sides and the top will be hidden. I love it. You could make it a summer day, a spring day, a fall day. So there's my two little bunnies. I'm trying to figure out where the basket should go and where the sentiment should go. So here's where I thought I needed another a sub-sentiment. So I took some more of the Lawn Fawn vanilla malt and die cut and stamped greetings from one of the sentiment sets. Larger than life spring sentiments, and then I die cut that out. I put the pink little bow on the basket, and I'm putting some foam tape on the back. Foam tape on the back of both the bunnies. You definitely want to make sure you put some behind their ears, otherwise I feel like when you mail the card they might get squished and bent. That cute purple frame will just tie everything together. So since all of those elements are popped up, I decided to use some waffle flower foam strips and pop up this cute frame. So I just made sure my light was running out of battery, so ignore the flashing. So when I put on the foam tape, I just made sure that I didn't put it behind any of those little holes so you couldn't see the foam tape from behind. So I'm going to put down the basket and both of the bunnies. Kind of a little bit of it at an angle, so they're kind of maybe talking to each other, or maybe they're going to go on an egg hunt. I love their little whiskers. And then we have to add some Easter eggs to the basket. So I added the green egg and the pink egg and the blue egg. I just glued those down. And then try to figure out where we want our little flowers. So at first I thought maybe they could go in the basket, but then I thought they covered up too much of the eggs. So scratch that idea. Next to the bunnies, I'm going to put the other green egg. And next to the basket, I'll put the purple egg. Still trying to find a spot for that pink egg. Next onto the flowers, I just put those right in the middle, between the basket and the bunnies. I glued these right onto the card too. These are such cute flowers. And now for the carrots. So I put 1 carrot in the basket and 1 carrot next to the basket, kind of laying down on its side. And then the other 2 carrots I end up putting between the 2 bunnies. This is probably the part that takes me the longest when I'm putting together cards. It's just trying to figure out where should everything go. And sometimes I glue them down and have to rip them up because I don't like where I put it. Or sometimes I have to go and stamp and die cut some more images because I thought I had enough and it'll turn out that I think I need more. So don't be afraid to change your plans or go back and stamp some more if you're not happy with how your card is turning out. So there's the little secondary sentiment, the secondary sentiment, the greetings. So the card will say spring greetings. I'm going to put that on the top left. And this specific sentiment die, the eye is attached. The top of the eye is attached, so you don't have to worry about keeping track of a separate little dot for the eye. I usually lose those, so it was nice that I didn't have to keep track of that this time. Greetings, I popped up on some foam tape. Put that right in the middle there. For embellishing, I wanted to do hearts of some sort, but all the colored hearts I picked were too vibrant. They weren't pastel enough in color. There was purple, I think I tried red and yellow, and it didn't quite match. So I dug through my stash and I found, from Trinity Stamps, I had these clear boiled sugar hearts. And I have them in a few different colors, and these clear ones are maybe my favorite because they kind of take on the color of whatever you put them over. So they're very subtle, but very cute. And then when you look in detail, you can tell that they're a heart. So I like to put odd numbers of embellishments on my cards in some sort of W or Z pattern. So that's where you'll see me try to kind of scatter them up, down, up, down, up, down, tight pattern on each card. Glue those down, I use my embellishment wand. And then I took another piece of the vanilla malt cardstock from Lawn Fawn, and I trimmed that down to standard slimline, which is 3.5 by 8.5. I'm going to use my Altenew double-sided tape in 1/2 inch width. It's my favorite tape. It's so great, and the backing pulls off super easy. It's very strong adhesive. It's been a really good alternative to, I used to use this glue gun, and it went somewhere. They don't make it anymore. You can't buy the refills. So I was very sad when that tape dispenser was discontinued, but this is a good second. So I just use my tweezers to peel off the backing, and then I'll put my card right in the center, my card panel right in the center there. And then we'll release the backing from the foam tape here on the frame and center that right over the card front. It fills almost the whole card front. You can just see the vanilla malt peeking through a little bit. Just kind of wiggle things in place here. I added a couple of white gel pen accents on the cheeks, on the ears, on the bow, on the eggs, on the flowers a little bit. Just adding some interest. No real rhyme or reason on where I'm placing this, just wherever it looked like it could use some accenting. So I love that this card is very subtle, very calm, very spring. I'm adding glossy accents to the cheeks of the bunnies and the ears. And that finishes my card for today. I can't wait to play with this set some more, especially the big bunny that I didn't get to use today. Oh, and there's that little pink egg. I couldn't let it go to waste, so we're going to put it on the inside. Super cute. I love how it turned out. Thanks for stopping by today. Have a great day.